Today we're going to be applying vinyl to a truck. Now, not just any truck, this truck has seen better days, but we're going to make it look just as good as new. So let's get to design. So having a look at this design that I've got here, we have to keep in mind that I'm going to be doing many of these trucks and most of them are going to be different. So if you have a look at this one that I've previously done, and I'm going to show you the one that we're going to do now, you'll see that the trucks are completely different. And as you can see, we've even got something different on the front of the truck, which the customer has asked for. Instead of having a band, we've now got a Iceman, which looks different. So this is the previous size. We are now going to be going through all of the sizes and changing the aspect of the design so it fits this truck exactly. Now I've already done my measurements, so I'm just going to put them in. So this is going to be the back of the truck. We're going to make sure that we always keep our designs the same in terms of orientation. We mustn't make too many changes. So here you can see this is not the right size. So for this, I'm just going to make sure my background layer, that will always be the same no matter what. I'm just going to slightly make this bigger overall just for the background in the meantime. And then we'll move over to the contents of this design itself. Luckily for this customer, he really doesn't mind us changing a little bit of it, and his design can be changed where most people can't have that same effect. Okay, now that we've made it overall smaller, we just now need to space everything out so it seems equal in size and distance. And there we go, the first one is done. Now all I have to do is save this and put it onto our mock-up for our customer. But as it goes where it is currently, I'm ready to print on this. Just keep in mind when you are doing all your artwork for mock-up that you have to try and make it as realistic as possible. So I always use my distort tool just so that I can put it in at the right angle, because you always take pictures at the wrong angle. It's never at the true angle. So here I'm just going to make it a little bit transparent so that I can cut off the areas that aren't actually going to be stuck to the vehicle itself, so the customer can actually see how this is going to look. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, we just need to give a good representation. Okay, now that that is done, I've basically cut out all the areas which I feel that the vinyl will not be sticking to this vehicle. The areas that I possibly cannot actually get the vinyl to stay. So once I've done all of these pieces like this, I'll then send it on to the customer just so that he can approve it so that I can go ahead from here. But this is basically what I would do for any vehicle that is coming my way. Let's continue with the sides. And we're just going to do exactly what we did before. Just make sure that it's the same size all the way around so that we have a bit of uniformity when it comes to our customers' vehicles. Okay, I finished the side. Now all we have to do is do the front of this vehicle, which is the easiest thing to do. So let's quickly do that. For this one, all we need to do is grab an Iceman from any of the designs, and we're going to put it directly here. Now I know the size of this was in between these two pieces of metal on the actual bonnet itself, where I'm indicating with my mouse, and I know that that is exactly where he wanted it. We're just going to leave it that size, and now all we need to do is just distort it so it looks like the original one. And all you have to do is just follow the contours of the car, and you should be able to do this without an issue. And if you do it correctly, just like that, it looks like it's actually stuck to the vehicle, which is what we want when we are sending this mock-up to our customer. It makes them feel that it's actually already on the vehicle. Now that that's done, all I need to do is send it on to my customer. Once he's approved it, it is ready to print. Material, I'm going to be using a greyback adhesive, and that's personally my favorite to use, especially when doing vehicles like this where it's damaged. It's no longer just a white piece of metal that we're basically sticking to, or a piece of metal that is our body. There's paint missing, and there's lots of things that aren't necessarily normal in terms of putting vinyl onto a vehicle. So we're going to print on eco solvent. From there we're going to laminate it, and then when it comes to applying, we're going to have to do piece by piece when it comes to the back or any of the vehicle that we have separation. And when I say separation, the pieces that aren't just flat, and you can take your vinyl and just apply it. If we have a look at the side of this vehicle, having a look on the condition that it's in, we had to sand it down a little bit in order just to get it a smooth surface, as well as get rid of some rust that was left behind after it sat outside. Once we've done that and we've washed the vehicle thoroughly, we're going to have to use a lot of water and sunlight soap just to give that solution underneath the vinyl so that we can move it around and just find all the places that are wrong and squeegee out all that water. If you're not going to use water and you're going to go direct apply, it's going to make your life hell. With a vehicle like this, you're going to need some play because not everything's straight and not everything is flat. So you're going to need to take your time with lots of water, and you'll get it applied eventually. Having a look at the back with all its pieces, it's easier to measure from left to right and cut your panels that you've printed in sections. And when I say that, let's say for instance, if we look at the back of the vehicle, from the side where the metal starts to the first opening of the door, I measured that and I cut that straight so that I had one piece to apply, which made it a lot easier than applying the whole piece of vinyl at once, which I can guarantee would have been a pain, and you wouldn't be able to line it up as well as you could possibly. That being said, after cutting it up and applying lots of water, again sanding it down, you eventually get it on. Once you've applied your vinyl to the vehicle, let it dry a little bit before you go and cut it. It really does help that you don't cut with too much water behind your vinyl, otherwise the vinyl slips and then your blade will cut the wrong area. When it comes to the front of the vehicle, for the Iceman, all I literally had to do was cut it out on the cutter, peel away what I wanted, and stick it straight onto the bonnet with some water and squeegee it out. That was the easiest piece alongside the doors. Having flat areas is much easier to work with, but making sure you have lots of water will pretty much help you through this. Doing trucks like this really is a good experience to do, and so far this Ice for Africa truck has been my favorite to do, and I'm going to tell you why. Being able to brand someone's vehicle exactly how they want is not only a challenge, but it's also a feat that you want to be able to achieve. And when someone brings you a truck like this, not to say this is a bad example, but sometimes you get worse things, and be able to brand something like this and make it look brand new and exactly what the customer wants is something that you ultimately want to achieve. And because I was able to do that with the machinery I have, I made it look really good, and I'm so happy with this.